Boom, and we alive, man. Feeling real good. I'm surprised that the stream is actually working. I've been having issues with my internet all week. I can't get online to play any games. So it's been a tough week for me. I got a tech coming out to my crib on Friday, so I'll be able to handle that then. But man, I got so much going on, so much to show, so much happening within the tech network and the whole business side that I got a lot to say and a lot to talk about. Um, and introduce a whole bunch of new things, and it's a lot. So before I get started, I'm going to go ahead and try to share this out to everybody. If you're coming into the show right now, first and foremost, thank you for tuning in. Starting the show an hour early at 10 o'clock. Maybe we can get some late night UK guys in here if they're interested, or checking out the show tomorrow. Either way, I'm very grateful for the support as always. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. And your boy's back, man. Another episode, Super Podshots, episode 75 episodes of your boy Kal-El. People still like me. People still want to hear me. People still want to hear my thoughts and my impressions. So I'm here, man. I'm here to deliver the truth and give it to you straight when it comes to Xbox, the way you guys like it. So give me a second. Let me go ahead and tweet everything out, share everything out, and then we'll start the show. Oh man, it's been a crazy week. It really has been a crazy week, though. Um, just been crazy. While I got everybody here, one of the things I want to try to focus on is our new group over at TIC, the DX Men of the DX Mansion. So for those of you who don't know, DX, which stands for DirectX, I won't say a new group. It's a group that's been there for a while, a hardcore group of dedicated Xbox gamers on Facebook. These guys really are truly the best of the best Xbox fans, man. And they have this group, man, that when you go in there, man, you could just feel the passion for Xbox. You could just feel, how much they love the brand and how much they love to play games and how much they like to support each other and things like that. And I just felt that it was an amazing group. It was an amazing atmosphere. It's not an atmosphere you normally get. It wasn't toxic. Didn't have a lot of people trying to hate on the things those guys like to enjoy and the Xbox fans like to enjoy. And I'm very, very proud and happy to bring those guys under the umbrella. What up, Creepy? What up, Josh? What's going on, man? So yeah, man. So we got this new group over there, the Direct X-Men of the DX Mansion, the DX Men of the DX Mansion, shall I say. And if you guys are interested, make sure you get on Facebook and join the group, man. We got a whole plethora of things happening over the next couple of weeks, over the next couple of months. We're going to be having Madden Leagues. We got a Madden League next month. We got 2 Forza tournaments coming up. One is a car show off. One will be a race off. Both will have rewards. Then we got the Gears Award tournament also happening, which is going to be crazy. We're going to have tournaments every month, rewards every month. This is going to be truly one of the best groups that you could possibly be in if you're a true Xbox fan. If you really love Xbox the way some guys truly love Xbox and want to support it and want to be a part of a great group of guys that love to play games, make sure you head on over to the DX Men of the DX Mansion and support TIC's new gaming group for the hardcore Xbox gamer. Fortnite release, man. I didn't get a chance to play it yet. It's a really cool game from what I've heard and what I've seen. I know a lot of people are interested in the game. And it's funny because if you pick up the $89.99 version, they give you a free copy to share with all of your friends and stuff like that. So like if it's somebody out there that you want to play the game with, you can. So it's really cool. It's like for me, I wasn't going to get the game. I was initially thinking about it, but when I realized that it was $90 for the game, I was like, I had to pass on it. But one of my clanmates hooked the brother up, man, and got me a copy. So as soon as I get my internet working where I can get back online, I will definitely hop on that. and be playing with the clan once again and having fun and doing my damn thing. It's funny because I can't play anything on my Xbox because everything is tied to online. If it doesn't sync, it doesn't play. And if it does sync, then I have to sync it to offline and can only play new games because all my saves are online. And it's funny because I don't have a problem with that because I'm all for online and going digital. But at the same time, it's a real pain in the ass when you have games that you can't play because they need to link up to the online network. I kind of find it just a bit irritating, funny at the same time. It's almost like I've been bit in the ass because I'm a bit advocate for the whole digital way of gaming, and now I can't get online to play my games, and it's backfiring on me, which is kind of funny. Strange, excuse me. I got a slight cold from my son, so getting ready to start up, guys. Just give me half a second. Still sharing out to a few places. Again, make sure you give us a thumbs up here. Or give me a thumbs up. I keep saying us like I'm in a group. Give me a thumbs up. Make sure you share out to your friends on Twitter, Facebook, and things like that. And let people know about one of the best networks to tune into on YouTube, man, because we out here working really, really hard to try to entertain guys and give you guys news and information that you want to hear on a consistent basis. All right. Cool. So I'm getting ready to begin the show. Once again, I want to thank everybody for tuning out. If you are in the chat, go ahead and put your name out there, man. I will definitely shout you guys out as always, and very grateful for the support as always. So let's begin the show. Hey, Expedite, you're now rocking with your boy KLR X Kal-El, the last son of Planet Xbox, and you're listening to Super Podshots. On the next Super Podshot, man, 75th episode is just very special to me. But on the next episode of Super Podshots, I'm going to be changing my theme from Expedites to X-Men, to DX-Men, shall I say. I'm going really hard to make sure that you guys are aware of what we're doing in the DX-Men group, man. Like, you have no idea how passionate these guys are. If you've always been looking for an Xbox group where you can meet new people, people from different time zones, have guys in there just talking about Xbox gaming, showing streams and things like that. That is the place to go. On top of all of that, what's really dope is we have an amazing Forza group, man. These guys are just like really special. Just a collection of guys who really love Forza. They're called the Royal Street Kings. It's our subgroup. They're all a part of the DX Mansion and the DX Men. But these guys are real special, man. Really talented guys. They're always showing off some really amazing cars that they design. I got a playoff happening starting in September where I'm going to give these guys assets that I have of some of Tick's images of from when we first started, from our original logo, the throwback to our newest logo. And I'm going to give those guys those assets, and we're going to have a playoff. Who has the hottest TIC design car? And whoever has the hottest TIC design car will get a free copy of Forza Motorsport 7, courtesy of and that's just because, and that's exclusively to the DX Mansion. So if you think you got a hot car, if you think you're really nice at Forza and you're really good at designing, go ahead and join the DX Mansion, or look up the DX Men of the DX Mansion and go ahead and join the Forza group, which is the Royal Street Kings Forza group, and you might win a free copy of Forza Motorsport 7. And if you got the X, it's going to be even better. So keep an eye on that, man. I'm looking forward to that. Guys, give me half a second. All right. So listen, man, been a crazy week for a lot of the Xbox community. I know the Xbox guys have been feeling some type of way because your normal Xbox guys have been very critical of Microsoft as of late for a number of reasons. Um, of who is normally always positive about Xbox as much as I can be, and always quick to criticize when it's things that I don't agree with. Um, I actually I don't agree with everybody. There's a number of reasons why I don't agree with everybody. And I know a lot of Xbox fans might not agree with me, but I want people to understand the settings in which they're presenting things and how they're being presented. Uh, when I talk about that, people have to understand where Microsoft is coming from, what they're trying to do, what they're trying to present, and how they're trying to present it, and the direction they're going. And while people may feel that Crackdown had a terrible showing, and while some people may feel that Crackdown doesn't look good, there's a lot of missing elements to what's happening with Crackdown. There's a lot of missing elements to the people who are on the outside that are not interested in the Xbox One X console, and a lot of people who are misinformed about how well the Xbox division is doing. So before I get started on all those great things, I want to talk about some of the negative things. And what about that kind of irked me this week was, I won't say it irked me, I will say that I was and at the same time happy. And what I mean by that was creative director Casey Hudson is no longer with Microsoft. He is now head of studio over at BioWare. Now, for me, that's a double-edged sword. Why? Because I'm a BioWare fanboy. I love Mass Effect. It's one of my favorite franchises. I love Knights of the Old Republic. You guys know that's my number one game I want Microsoft to bring back. So I'm big fans when it comes to those particular games, and I'm a big fan of that studio. I love Dragon Age at 1.2 as well. But overall, I just love the studio. I love the work that they do. And a lot of people were disappointed with the last Mass Effect title. And a lot of that had to do with them putting their B team on it while the A team worked on Anthem. In the meantime, some people over at BioWare stepped down. Casey had an opportunity to go back, and he went back, and now he's the head of the studio. When he came to Microsoft, his goal was actually to work on HoloLens. It was to work with new technology, to work on AR and VR. And Casey is a producer and director. He's produced the Mass Effect franchise. And him coming over to Microsoft and being a creative director, working on projects for HoloLens, it's great. It's great if you guys are interested in VR and AR, it's great. I have no qualms against that. However, and this is where a lot of the Xbox guys and I got into a debate about, was that Casey Hudson came to Microsoft, worked on HoloLens, and was brought in to work on HoloLens and left. And now he's running BioWare, and he's the head of studio at BioWare. But my problem is what did Microsoft truly get out of Casey Hudson? And when you have a talent like that and you lose that talent, is the issue that I have. And it's because Microsoft sometimes has an issue either keeping talent or has an issue of keeping things that could possibly be successful if nurtured, and the potential may be there. They lose these things. And that's where I kind of got a little irritated, because Casey Hudson, having the experience that he has since the Cold War generation, having the experience he has with Mass Effect, having the experience he has with that BioWare studio, would have been an amazing asset to Microsoft. Whether he was helping create a new franchise, whether he was helping build a new studio, whatever it is, he would have been an amazing asset. Now, people say that, well, that's not what he wanted to do. He wanted to come over and work on new technology and wanted to work on HoloLens and mixed reality for Microsoft. Now, understand, right now, the Xbox One X and the Xbox platform, it's not even getting VR at this point. We have no idea where Microsoft is going to get VR. I would say we may get surprised at E3 in 2018 or maybe 2019, where maybe they feel it's more affordable. Maybe they feel they'll have a plethora of games to put on there that's actually something that Phil Spencer feels is worth purchasing, because in his mind, he feels right now that VR is not at a point where it's investable. That's not even a real word. It's like it's not the type of product that's going to get major investment from gamers. Because if you look at the VR devices out there, they're not knocking sales out of the park. It's not to say that VR isn't successful, but it's not at a point to where you put out a VR game and it sells millions, or there's millions upon millions of VR devices out there. There just isn't. The demographic is small at this point, it's niche, and it's honestly not viable. And I get that if more people were involved in that, it could be something bigger because you would have more developers being involved in VR. At the same time, understand Microsoft just literally got rid of Kinect, which was a fiasco for them because it was something that they had put so much into, both financially, both R&D, and yet now you can't even get a Kinect port on the back of the S or the X console. You have to get an adapter. So it tells you exactly what they're doing with that platform. Here's another tidbit. When the X comes out, you'll be able to use third-party cameras. You won't even need a Kinect in the future. On the Xbox One X, you won't even need a Kinect. They're going to make it where you can purchase a third-party camera and use it. That's big. That's big. And it tells you how they feel about Kinect and how important Kinect is now to Microsoft. And it's nothing. It's not important anymore. That says a lot to me. So for them to then turn around and then go into VR and maybe have the same issue happen, I understand their reluctance in that. So for me, you're making a game. You have this man coming. He's making a game for VR, AR, mixed reality, which is mainly going to be a Windows 10 PC, but basically, which is what it's going to be for. You're not actually hitting the Xbox demographic at this point. And it's disappointing because you didn't get an opportunity to even try to pick his brain. Now, I'm not saying that they 100% didn't. But at this point, there's no inclination. There's no evidence. There's no rumor. There's no source. There's nothing saying Microsoft has worked with him in any sort of way other than HoloLens and VR. And when you have a person like that, if you have a talent like that, a mind like that, a creative mind like that, you have to be able to tap that mind. You have to be able to get something out of him in order to take back and build on. You could have given this man his own studio. He was just a creative director. Microsoft has a ton of creative directors. And yeah, they help produce some really great games. But we're talking about a man that built sagas here. You could have had your own saga. You could have had your own KOTOR, your own Mass Effect, or something of that ilk. You could have had that. You could have had some sort of idea. You could have had some sort of functionality. You could have worked on a game and said, hey, why don't you check this out, Casey? Let me know what you think. Could you give me tidbits on this? Hey, what do you think about this? How would you feel if we offered you your own studio? And people say he didn't want to work on any games. He didn't want to do this. He wanted to work on, but the man went back. And here's the thing. This is the thing that kind of irritates me. He didn't want to work on any games. He wanted to work with new technology. That's why he came to Microsoft. And yet he went back to BioWare to run that studio and work on Anthem and work on the Mass Effect franchise, which are games. So I get that. That's his family. That's where he's from. I understand that. And I find it ironic that some Xbox fans are content with that. Oh, that's fine. He went back. Okay, that's great. There's no sweat off our brow. He wasn't doing anything for Xbox anyway. Those Xbox fans, it really isn't. But when you settle for that, if you settle for that, then you can expect to continue to get mediocrity if you feel some of the things that Microsoft may have put out are mediocrity. And for the people out there who feel like that, that's what you continue to get because you settle. Why are we settling? Shouldn't you want more? Shouldn't you want to grab the best talent and get the best talent? And when you have them, hold on to them? Shouldn't you want that? Isn't that what you strive for? As you want your platform to have some of the best titles out there? Yes, there's a million amazing third-party titles, without question. And there's amazing third-party franchises. But we're talking about Microsoft. All people ever gripe about is what Microsoft doesn't have, what they don't have exclusively. They don't have any RPGs. They don't have any Avenger games. They don't have any single-player experiences with great stories. Opportunity to maybe build upon that with someone who's really, really good at that. And that person is no longer here, is now gone. So that was my issue. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, there's always talent out there. It's not to say you can't find somebody new. It's not to say that. But there's a big difference between, let's say, having a person that's experienced, that's a vet, and then bringing in a rookie or bringing in somebody that's okay. You know, the trade-off just isn't as big. It's like you know what you're getting with one person, and you're hoping you get that with someone else, and it may not pan out that way. So that's just one of my gripes, and that was one of the things that I had an issue with when it came to it. Now, on the other hand, because I'm a BioWare fan and because I'm a BioWare fanboy, I'm super excited that Casey's back because Anthem is going to be insane. I'm super hyped for Anthem. It's one of my most anticipated games. It's like number 1 or number 2 on my list next to Beyond Good and Evil 2. And having him back on the BioWare team and at the helm just lets me know that whatever next Mass Effect franchise they come out with and whatever they come out with Anthem, it's in great hands. It's going to be a success, and I look forward to it. And I'm excited about that. And I'm excited about all the fans that are going to be playing that game because BioWare deserves to be among and talked about with the top elites. They don't need to be mocked. They don't deserve to be mocked. They've done too much for gaming as a whole to be mocked. So for me, having him back is great for them, and I wish them nothing but success. At the same time, it burns as a Microsoft fan. It really does because you had that talent and now it's gone. And now what do you do? So we'll see what happens in the future, man. Hopefully Microsoft got some things up their sleeves. I know that they're working on a few titles. I spoke about this a number of times, like the Horizon Zero Dawn game. I keep saying Horizon Zero Dawn game. It's not a Horizon Zero Dawn game, but it's something built in the form of like Horizon Zero Dawn, probably not with, robotic dinosaurs, something like that, but some type of open world grand epic type title adventure game, which is what they're working on. And they're hiring right now, and TICGN did an article on it. So if you're looking for it, you want to find out more info on it, I will definitely put the link in the description in the future. So moving on. The Xbox One X, man, has been getting a lot of slack lately from a lot of different places, websites, media outlets, podcasters, fanboys, all this stuff like that. And the one thing that I constantly get over and over and over again is that the X won't sell because it doesn't have exclusives. And I never understand that because I remember last year when the PS4 Pro dropped, and it didn't have any major exclusives last year. What it did have, and I'm talking about at launch, I'm not talking about it didn't have games to play, because it did. It had Uncharted. It was Uncharted 4 had released last year. There was a ton of games that had came out early in the year for PlayStation that were really big for it. And you have a lot of the older games that people may not have played that got graphical boosts and upgrades and, everything like that for the Pro. But how is that any different for what Microsoft is putting out this holiday? And this is where I get kind of frustrated in that it's easy to look at what the Pro did, and people are okay with that, but not see what Microsoft is doing in the same way and not be okay with what Microsoft is doing with the X. And honestly, the X's lineup this year is okay. It's not bad. It's not something that's knocking anything out the park. And a lot of us understand that, but a lot of us still look forward to these games and what they look like. Third parties are going to look amazing on it. A lot of 4K titles, a lot of 4K enhancements. And I think people neglect that. I think a lot of people only hear 4K and think resolution. They don't think about the bonuses that you get with the enhanced part of those games, whether it's 4K assets, whether it's more objects on screen, whether it's better particle effects, whether it's dynamic anything, weather, light, whatever it is, you're going to get those things in the Xbox One X. And that's a major factor when it comes to particular games, especially some third-party titles and a lot of the first-party titles that are getting, patches and things like that. But the biggest thing is 2018, just like 2017 was big for the PS4 Pro. And what I mean by that is that PS4 Pro came out. It didn't drop with any major launch titles. It didn't have anything like that. It just came out and it had a bunch of games to play. You had Uncharted 4, you had Ratchet & Clank, Last of Us 2 remastered. There was a bunch of games that were already on the platform that people could play on a Pro that had certain enhancement or certain graphical effects that made it worth picking up at the time. And some games didn't have it at all. Could have been better frames, could have been anything. It may not have had it at all. Meanwhile, the Xbox One X may not have things that people may be into, like a Crackdown 3, but you still have Forza 7. You got Super Lucky Tail. You have I'm trying to think off the top of my head. You have a plethora of Xbox console exclusives, from Conan to Path of Exiles to Player Unknown Battlegrounds. I can go on and on about the amount of console exclusive titles coming out, games crossing over from PC to Xbox over the next couple of months. And that's a plethora of games that you'll get on both the Xbox and the Xbox One X. And everyone's like, well, Crackdown's a launch title. Crackdown's a launch title. Launch title when it's only coming out for the Xbox One. It's just a released game. It's just a game coming out for Xbox One at the same time of the Xbox One X. The Xbox One X is not a new console like it's a new generation. The Xbox One. And I just find it ironic that people aren't catching on to that. They're looking at it like it's a new console launch. And why I believe this console is going to be successful is for the simple fact of all the people who hated on the original Xbox, and all the Xbox guys that felt slighted, and all the day one guys who felt like they didn't get their money's worth. They're going to go out and they're going to buy that Xbox One X. Those people are the guys that's going to support that console when it comes out. Those are the guys that's going to buy not one console, maybe two consoles, a console for them and a console for a family member, a console for them and a console for a best friend. They already have marketing out right now. The main topic on it is the most powerful console in the world. That is exactly what their headline is for this holiday season. The most powerful console in the world. And as people walk by that, they will be intrigued. And I'm not saying everybody's going to buy it. I'm not saying every casual person is going to go out and drop $500. What I'm saying is the hardcore fan base is going to go out and support this console. I haven't met one true Xbox fan that has bought a console on day one who has said they are not going to get this console. Not one. And the beauty of that is that I truly believe that this console is probably going to sell 1 million consoles by the end of the holiday season. By the end of the holiday season. Xbox One X is what the Xbox should have been during its time. But getting it now as a mid-gen upgrade is perfectly fine. We're talking about new UIs now, third-party support, keyboard support. They just put Sims 4 on the Xbox. I'm not saying that's anything big, but you're starting to see that PC crossover. You're starting to see that Windows 10 crossover, that UWP crossover. All these PC games are coming to Xbox first. And that may not be a big thing to the people out there who, let's say, for example, are not into the PC demographic of games. But for the Xbox guys, it's always been that way from the beginning. A lot of Western RPGs started out on PC, whereas consoles were so focused on JRPGs. It was Xbox in games like Diablo and Baldur's Gate that really kind of brought that PC RPG experience to the console. And Xbox kind of brought that Knights of the Old Republic type game to consoles. And now today we're starting to see these PC games start to come back. And I don't just mean indie games. I mean, truly, you're getting games that really were built for PC make this crossover to the Xbox One. So the Xbox One X is now starting to get all these PC titles. And that's great. That's great. And I'm excited about all of these games that's starting to come to the Xbox One X. And even if they do come to PlayStation at some point, it's important to understand that Microsoft is now starting to get games that's coming exclusively to their platform first. And you may not know when it's going to hit PlayStation. We don't know if it's going to be a year. We don't know if it's 2 years. We don't know if it's 6 months. But we know it's coming to the platform first. And that's important if you want to play that game. Player Unknown Battlegrounds is a big title for Xbox. This thing is selling out of the wazoo. And now they have first-person mode on there as well. This is a huge title. I don't think a lot of people grasp how big this title is coming because it's a PC title and it's already been released on PC. When Ark came to Xbox, that damn thing sold 1 million copies in like a month. Like a month. Ark did extremely well, and it sat on the Xbox One for an entire year before it even hit the PlayStation, like a year and a half, actually. And then you talk about the benefits that the Xbox One X gets from the Ark developers is huge. Have you seen what this game looks like? Have you seen what they plan to do with this game? It's nuts. I literally was almost about to quit the game until I saw what I saw. Completely blown away by it. I have to play it. So the Xbox One X is on its way to being very successful. A lot of titles is coming out for it. A lot of titles will be enhanced for it. People don't respect the third-party support and how important and how big third-party is. Or the gamer that just wants power and want things that look best. Or the bundles that they'll have with 4K TVs this holiday season. The biggest thing that kills me is the people that say $500 for the console when all of us Xbox guys have Xboxes to trade in towards it. You got some guys that are trading PS4 Pros towards it. And guess what? That console now becomes, what, $399? $299? It's not as bad as you think it is. So I really think people are underestimating what this console is going to do this holiday season. And I think people are underestimating what the Xbox fan is going to do this holiday season. You may knock 30 million people, but it only takes 1 million people for that thing to be a success. And within the next year, by 2018, when you have all of those marketing deals start to hit, like Anthem, and you start seeing that Xbox logo, and you start seeing the most powerful console, the Xbox One X, playing the most powerful looking, beautiful game in Anthem, or you start seeing a new Metro Exodus and it's starting to look amazing. And now you're starting to see other titles coming out, maybe Halo 6, maybe Forza Horizon 4. Who knows what's in the cards in the future for Xbox? Sea of Thieves is starting to look better and better. When these games start to line up next year, they're going to look really impressive, especially with all those marketing deals. And just like this year, Pro and its third-party games and its third-party support is exactly what I see for Microsoft and Xbox in 2018 with its first-party and its third-party support. That's exactly what I see. So don't knock the Xbox One X because it's not launching with a plethora of, console-only exclusives or third-party deals and things like that. Because the Pro did it, and it was pretty successful in its own right. I think the Xbox One X will be more successful than the Pro and have an even better year in 2018 and more going forward. And I think a lot of people be surprised by that, man. And that's why I believe the Xbox One X will be successful. Because for all the people who say, and these are the key words, and you can quote me on this, and you can look it up, you can see it damn near in every forum, every Twitter feed, every Facebook chat. Hey, the Xbox One X, man, I don't know if it's going to do as well because they ain't got no exclusives, but I plan to get it. Well, if you plan to get it, same thing that you said that he plans to get it, I already know I'm getting it. I know my boy's getting it. Sounds like we're all getting it regardless of it having any Xbox only exclusives. So what is there to worry about? If you're getting it, what are you concerned about? And that's the funny part of all of this. Moving on. So a lot of hate this week on Crackdown 3. Crackdown 3 seems to be getting a lot of hate from a lot of the fans out there because they feel that it doesn't look great graphically. And people aren't seeing the destruction that they wanted to see. On top of all of that, Microsoft went to Comic-Con and had celebrities playing the game. And supposedly the celebrities didn't know what they were doing. And it was a bad presentation. This is what a lot of the Xbox fans feel. But you have to understand the reason why Microsoft was there in the first place. They weren't there to present Crackdown to play for everybody. They were at Comic-Con because Crackdown has a comic coming out. They were there to advertise more story of Crackdown in the Crackdown story in the Crackdown comic book that was coming out. Having the game on display and to play for the fans was just icing on the cake on top of promoting the new comic book that they got coming out for Crackdown. So in the process, you have some celebrities who, by design, most celebrities don't know how to play games. Most, not saying all. There are some amazing celebrities out there that are big time gamers, but most actors and actresses are mostly just, they're not really gamers like us. And with that being said, they hopped on and they didn't know what they were doing and they were just playing around and having fun or whatever. And maybe it was embarrassing for some of the people out there. But here's the big difference. The big difference is that was a comic trade show that was released on Mixer. And it may have looked bad, but it would have been 100 times worse had it been at E3. When you go to E3, and as someone who has been at E3 multiple times and experienced this thing multiple times, when you go to E3, everybody from around the world goes to E3. I mean, everybody from every country you can possibly think of. Every video game website, every video game publication, anything you could think of, any trade, any tech magazine, everybody is there. So when they're looking at the presentation, when they're looking at the presentation of games, you have a bad showing. Not only does it affect you where you are, it affects you around the world. Comic-Con travels. It goes from one place to another. It's not just in San Diego. There's a Comic-Con in New York. There's different Comic-Cons. So when you have that, everybody's not going to attend Comic-Con. Most people are there for the movies. Most people are there to see new trailers, the comics, the actors, the actresses, to see like my man McFarlane is coming out with a new Spawn movie that he's going to direct, which I'm super excited for. And to this day, I still think Spawn should be Xbox's exclusive superhero character. Someone said the Hulk recently. I'd rather pass on the Hulk and go for Spawn. Spawn just gives you that gritty Xbox feel. Guns blazing, third-person shooter type action adventure game. You got your cloak, you make it open world. You could turn your cloak into a motorcycle or wrap it around a bike or something like that and have it as a shield. You got all types of chains. You can go melee combat. You can go range combat with different weapons. Dude, Spawn's the perfect character for Xbox. I might have to hit Phil up in a DM about that, but he's the perfect character. Meanwhile, Microsoft is now presenting a new comic book for Crackdown, and they have the game there to show off. So a lot of people are blowing this out of context. I think what makes Crackdown great is what people are missing out of all of that is the co-op play. No one realizes this game is a 4-player co-op game. And when you have 4 people on screen, at least in the free roam or even in the story mode aspect of the game, it becomes a lot of mayhem. It's a lot of hectic mayhem that goes on. And you're playing that game. They haven't even gotten to the multiplayer aspect yet, which is something they're prepping for Gamescom. And the reason why they're prepping that for Gamescom is because the studio is out there in Europe. And you want the guys at that studio that know what they're doing to present that game. The last thing you want is to have guys like Major Nelson or some, run-of-the-mill third party, gamer to come on and start trying to play the multiplayer and maybe not understand what they're doing or just running around and blowing things up. You want to be able to see what's possible. And only the developer understands what's possible. So having the CloudGen guys play that game on stage at Comic-Con, which is a lot easier for them, and it also gives them more time, an entire month, to work out what they need to work out on the game, to make sure that the presentation is exactly what they want to present. They give them that time. The only people pressuring the Crackdown guys and the Xbox guys are the PlayStation fan base. And it's the God honest truth. And I think that pressure is also putting pressure on the Xbox guys to try to put pressure on Xbox to even see what they're doing, because they feel that they haven't seen anything special. I played the game at E3. When you get your hands on that controller, what the game looks like at that point, because it's already cel shaded as it is, not that it's not important, but kind of fades away because you're running around, you're jumping, looking for weapons, fighting enemies, throwing cars, blowing things up, shooting things with the black hole gun, sucking things into a freaking pit of despair. When you're in that game, when you're in that mode, you're not thinking about, man, the sun looks amazing in this cel-shaded game. Look at this. This looks crazy. You're not thinking about, you're like, man, that explosion was insane. I just launched this guy down the hall. I wonder what this gun can do. And that's only a free roam, by the way. That wasn't even campaign. They didn't even go into the campaign aspect of it. What they've been showing is you just running around in free roam mode. People, give the game its time, and then it will deliver what it's supposed to deliver. I think people are too anxious. You can't try to force something that's not ready. And you can't get at Microsoft for taking their time to want to show off a game in its best presentation. It's not like they've been pumping out games that haven't been successful or haven't been ridiculed. The last thing they want to do is pump this game out, and the presentation that they have isn't what they need it to be, and it falters and it fails. And then before the game even releases, you can't even pick it up. They still have the multiplayer to fall back on because we haven't seen it yet. We still don't know what the campaign is like yet. We don't know when the comic's going to release. We don't know what the story's going to be. There's so much we don't know, and yet everyone thinks they know everything. You know nothing. Crackdown 3 will be successful when people get their hands on the game and they're playing the game. And you'll understand why it's so much fun when you're in co-op or you're playing multiplayer and you're in a room with 10 people. Because yes, the Xbox party system allows you to have 12 people in a room. And you have 12 people in one room going against another 12 people in another room in multiplayer, and you're blowing up bridges and you're driving cars and you're shooting nukes and double jumping across one skyscraper to another, and you have all of that happening. Then you start to really see and understand what makes this game so fun and good. Expectations, people. Keep them in check. Let these games come out. Let people see how and what these games can do. And when that happens, people will probably be quiet because then they'll be excited and happy to play the game. Sometimes it's not always about graphics. Sometimes it's about fun. Sometimes it's about playing the game. We put too much into graphics and then you get shitty games anyway. You get games that look beautiful and the games come out and they're ranked like what, 70, 55, 65 overall, and the games don't even sell. Now a studio was shut down and closed because they put so much into how the game look and there's no substance. Important factors when it comes to gaming. And your number one factor should always be, is the game fun? People tend to forget that. Moving on. So, as I was doing our recent research and things like that, TICGN did a article recently on Xbox. And the Xbox division as a whole isn't just Xbox. It's Xbox, it's gaming, it's subs, it's live. It's also other devices, whether it's like Surface, whether it's all these other devices. And at the end of the day, the biggest factor in all of that is live. Xbox Live, because across Xbox Live is where everything is really being generated. So the thing about it is, after doing all of this work and Satya Nadella coming out and talking about Xbox, we find out that second to Sony PlayStation, which I believe is at 14 billion, the Xbox division for Microsoft is worth $9 billion. And that is huge for Microsoft. That's a big deal for them. And what people don't understand about that is how important live is to Xbox. People think, oh, the division isn't worth that because their games might not have sold that much, or the consoles only sold 30 million. I don't think you understand what Xbox means. It's not just Xbox One. I mean, the 360 did sell 80 million consoles. Halo was doing over 10 million almost per game at one point. People tend to forget there's like 55 million Xbox Live subs out there. When you buy games out of the Microsoft store, whether it's third party or first party, you do know they get a percentage because you're using their store. Whether you purchase a game from from Windows 10, if you are a live subscriber and you're using your live, whether it's free or not, that's a benefit and a profit to Xbox and their division. What they have Xbox Live in and what you do within that ecosystem all benefits Xbox. Game Pass is starting to really pick up. The games they sell pick up. Digital distribution picks up. Minecraft is another title that's huge for them. That's a multi-plat title that they picked up from Mahjong and then brought the Mahjong studio. And I mean, that as a franchise in itself, from the toys to the games, now they have these things going into schools. They're coming out with, shared universes with Nintendo and Xbox, new DLC to make things look ultra realistic in certain aspects and stuff. Listen, Minecraft is huge for them. A lot of people laughed at Microsoft when they bought Minecraft. I think Microsoft has a laugh at this point because they pretty easily made that money back already. I heard there's going to be a Minecraft movie as well. They already have Minecraft games where they have like the Telltale games. All that benefits Microsoft in the end. Minecraft is the second highest selling game of all time, people. The second highest selling game. Oh, no. I'm sorry. No, it's not. It's the third. Apologies. The second highest selling game of all time is Super Mario Brothers. The number one highest selling game of all time is Tetris. So listen, 9 billion is impressive. 9 billion is huge. And it goes to show you how important the Xbox division is to Microsoft. It really is that important. And it's the reason why they are trying to continue to expand Xbox. Games as a service is not something that I'm really into, but I understand the benefits of it. I understand why it's important to that division and how they're making money, why Game Pass is important to that division and how they're making money, and why this is all great for first party, why it's really important for first party. Because you have things to fall back on when things aren't successful. When you don't have successful titles from first party, you always have that money to fall back on from what you made off of Xbox Game Pass, what you made off your live subs, what you made off of the EA access being accessible on Xbox and picking up games from the Xbox store through EA access. People don't even realize that. It's not like you're actually buying it from EA access. You understand? You understand the logic of how Microsoft has that set up? You go to EA access, you get 10% off. You want to purchase a game, it takes you to the Xbox store, the Windows store, and you purchase the game and get 10% off, and yet that profits EA and profits Microsoft. Microsoft understands business. They know what they're doing. They have their hands in a ton of things. And though I don't like what Microsoft does with Xbox all the time, the great benefit of having a company like Microsoft in your corner for Xbox, you always have money. That's one thing you can never say that Xbox doesn't have. Always have money. Now, I think the Xbox division is under a strict budget, especially when it comes to spending. Whatever they're purchasing, studio-wise, game-wise, I think if they don't see immediate profit, and I think that's just from a business perspective, I think if they don't see immediate profit, they don't hop on it. They saw immediate profit with Minecraft. That was an easy purchase. Gears of War made them $1 billion. That franchise made them $1 billion. That was an easy purchase. But then you have other titles and other games that may not have been successful out the gate, and they may pass on. We might not get a Sunset Overdrive 2. We might not get a Quantum Break 2. Games like Fable, games like Scalebound that were financial burdens, didn't pan out the way they wanted to. For whatever reasons, a plethora of reasons, actually, those games get canceled. But when you're able to cancel games like that, and you have things like Game Pass to fall back on, you have EA access to fall back on, you have Xbox Live subs to fall back on, you can easily recover and move on to your next set of games or your next set of deals. So I think it's really important if Game Pass is a success, which I've been hearing it is a success so far. They're starting to get more Xbox Live subs and more people getting into Live through Windows 10, through Xbox, through Surface, whatever it is, whatever device you may have, is huge for that division. And whatever purchases you may get through Windows is huge. And that helps first party because now you're able to do more. You're able to spend more. A new console allows you to spend more, invest more. And we'll see that coming up over the next couple of years. People say Microsoft, what were they doing? They don't have any games. Where's all their games? I can't stress enough. 2014, 15, 16, and 2013, Microsoft delivered games every year. They're going to deliver games at the end of this year. They just really fell flat in the beginning of this year. And that's just the God honest truth. There's no beating around the bush about that. They definitely took an L in the beginning of this year. Actually, the beginning and the mid of the entire year. August is when they're finally going to get, some really big titles coming in. People who supported and liked Voodoo Vince, that's great. People who liked Halo Wars 2, that's awesome as well. But it wasn't something that was knocking anything out the park or that was major. At the end of the day, though, 2018 is a big year. 2019 is a big year. 2020 is a big year. Microsoft will continue to recover, and then we'll have a plethora of games coming out. And every year they've dropped exclusives. Every year. And I mean, this past E3, I've seen so much variety. It's mind-boggling. People may not have gotten the big AAA, man. But the one thing I can say about this thing, those 42 timed or console exclusives, those games were diverse, and that's big, and I'm happy about that. So yeah, man, I think Microsoft is on the right path. I think they're doing a great job. I think people are blowing a lot of things out of proportion when it comes to Xbox. People are nervous. Gamers are nervous, because it didn't start out great. But I think this holiday is going to be a lot of fun, a lot of third-party games to pick up, a lot of first-party games to pick up, new games to pick up, which is going to be great as well. So I'm excited about all that. And next year is just going to be crazy. State of Decay 2, maybe a new Halo, maybe not. We don't know what they're going to have at the end of next year. Sea of Thieves drops. Another Forza Horizon, which is probably one of the biggest, newest franchises out there, doing extremely well. Sea of Thieves. I can't think what else is it. You have your third-party deals with Anthem and Metro Exodus. You'll get Code Vein next year, which is big. You'll also have the new Dragon Ball Z comes out next year. A lot of awesome indie titles come out next year as well. Right now, Path of the Exile beta is out. So if you're able to get the Path of the Exile beta, you can pick it up right now and start playing today. And that's exclusively on the Xbox One right now. A lot of big games starting to drop, man. So definitely keep it locked. Make sure you go ahead and support Xbox and recognize what they're doing for their base. Their base isn't the PlayStation base. It's not. It's a different demographic altogether. It's not to say that they shouldn't diversify their lineup and continue to diversify their IPs. It's something that they continuously need to do. But at the same time, PlayStation. So don't expect PlayStation stuff. If you're an Xbox fan, you know what they deliver. And support them for what they deliver, because they're going to continue to deliver some good content. And that's what they've been doing the last 3.5 years. So that's it, man. That's it for the show this week. I don't want to keep it going too long, man. I want to thank everybody for stopping out. I will definitely be back probably this weekend or this week with another episode of Tick Podcast with the team. We are working on some things in August. We're going to have a break from all the other shows. The only shows we'll be running in August is Tick Podcast. We're doing an audit. We're working on some things. We may have some new shows, some new projects coming in, along with the staple that we already have. We're also working out ways to appeal more to everybody, because it's important for Tick as a brand to continue to appeal to everybody. But Tick Podcast will always be for the Xbox gamer and the Xbox crowd. So again, man, make sure you tune in tomorrow for Tick Podcast episode with me, myself, obviously. Anchorman VMB Money 101. And then again, on Mondays, we have Multiverse Podcast, which is about comics, TV, video games, multi-platform, all that stuff. Trophy Life Podcast, which is our PlayStation podcast for the PlayStation fans out there, and 2XP, which is our debate show, which gets uploaded weekly as well. So make sure you tune into those, and we'll continue to try to be as diverse and as appealing as possible to all types of gamers. And for the Xbox fans, we'll always be the best place to go for Xbox content, news, and drama-free listening. And I am definitely getting all of the old shows up on the podcast networks, especially Tick Podcast. I've had a rough week internet-wise, so don't worry about that, but I will get the episodes up on there too. So I'm your host, KORS Kal-El, the last son upon an Xbox, and I'll catch you guys next week. Have a great evening, and I'm off this planet. Peace.